Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Anissa and today we're making some crispy, lovely fried, fresh falafel. We're just going to get started. So I'm soaking 400 grams or 2 cups of dried chickpeas. You don't want to use the canned stuff or already cooked chickpeas. It's going to give you an inferior product. That's just going to be a bit soft. It's not going to get as crunchy as you like your falafel to be. Of course, if you want, use it, but you'll get an inferior product at the end. But I do suggest you use dried chickpeas. I've let mine soak overnight. Normally, I would let this soak for a good 24 hours, but it was sort of a spur-of-the-moment decision to make falafel. So minimum, try to soak it overnight to 16 hours. Best results, 24 hours. This just gives your chickpeas time to soften a little further, and it's a bit better on your digestive system. So I soaked mine in sort of tepid, lukewarm water, and you'll find your chickpeas really double and swell in size. And I've also prepared some of my fresh ingredients for my falafel. So I've got 30 grams each, respectively, of fresh parsley. I've used flat leaf parsley, fresh coriander, and fresh dill. 1.5 medium onions, which I've just quartered, but just makes it easier to blend later, and an entire bulb of garlic. That may seem like a lot, but you really do need it for this quantity of falafel. If you're not too keen, obviously you can reduce the amount of garlic that you use or increase it. I like a fair amount. And we're going to throw all these fresh ingredients into a blender. I've tried to remove where I can the thick stalky stems for our fresh ingredients. I'm also going to add a couple nice spicy green chilies. You can add as much chili or as little as you like to yours. Next, a good heaped tablespoon of ground coriander seed, a good tablespoon of ground cumin seeds, and 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper, and some salt to taste. I'm using just under 2 teaspoons to start with. When I've blended the falafel batter together, I'll give it a taste and see if I'm happy with the salt content. It's always better to undersalt rather than oversalt. You can always add it, but you can't take it away. And I'm just going to blend this mixture up. I don't have a food processor, so I'm going to have to do mine in batches. I've blended my fresh ingredients and now I'm going to start blending my chickpeas. We're going to drain all the water, give it a really good rinse first. When you've blended your falafel batter, just place it in the fridge to really chill for about an hour. And I'm just toasting a good 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds in a pan. I'm just waiting for it to turn very slightly golden brown, which is what it's at the moment, and that's going to be ready to add. So your batter should look something like this, a nice bright green because of all those fresh herbs and seasonings in here. We're going to add our toasted sesame seeds right in, and around 3/4 teaspoons of baking powder. You want to add the baking powder right before you fry. That way it'll keep your falafel nice and fluffy instead of just falling apart and feeling very dense inside. If you add your baking powder too soon, it's just not going to work as well. I've got a nice wide pot on a medium-high heat. I'm just heating around 1.5 inches of vegetable oil, and we want it to reach around 180 degrees Celsius for our falafels. Any lower, or if it's too high, you might find that the batter just falls apart instead of staying in those nice circular shapes that you make. Now I'm just shaping my falafel bowls. I'm grabbing just a little hunk of it around that size, like a mini meatball almost. And I like to just give it a little press with my hands just to sort of try to squeeze the mixture together. You don't really want there to be lots of cracks in this dough, otherwise again it risks it falling apart. Then just give it a little pat to flatten it down, and you end up with these lovely little discs that are ready to be fried. Of course, you can make it in any shape that you prefer, but this is how I just make mine. Again, just pat it around with your hands and then just flatten it, and you end up with these little discs. And we're just going to drop these little balls into the pan, being careful not to overcrowd it overcrowding it, and you'll end up reducing the temperature of that oil too much, and they'll fall apart. So as you can see, I'm being careful not to add too many to my pot. I'm trying to keep them a nice space apart from each other so they're not touching too much. And when you can see they're beginning to turn golden brown on the other side, just give them a flip and let it cook on the other side until you end up with really beautiful golden brown discs, like so. They should take around 3 to 5 minutes to fry. And every now and again, just give them a little flip anytime you see a bit of green still peeking through your falafel, and make sure it's really nice and golden, or a good golden brown really, on both sides. You want to make sure it really cooks through the centre so that baking powder has a chance to work and the centre of these falafels are really, really nice and light and fluffy. And my first batch is ready. They're crispy, they've puffed up a little, which is exactly what you want, and you can remove them from your pan. Just let the excess oil drain off. Once you've fried your falafel, place them on a drying rack just to let the oil drain off, and it helps keep your falafels crispy. Try not to crowd them when they're still very, very freshly fried. And that's all there was to it. This batter made around 35 bowls of these falafels. They're super crispy and just very fluffy in the middle. You can see how nicely that's cooked. And that baking powder just helps it give that little rise. None of these fell apart, so it's a really good foolproof recipe. I like to have mine with a really nice garlic dip or a garlic sauce and maybe some fries on the side. I'll have it toasted in a wrap. It's up to you, but these were a really lovely snack. I hope you enjoy the recipe. If you do, please leave a like, subscribe, click that notification bell, and I'll hopefully upload more soon. Thank you for watching.